Hello, YouTube. We have on the big bench today a Data IO 29B. This is my third one. This is not a working machine. It's not an earner, I should say. Kind of works. But I was going through the calibration and I found an issue with it. Plus I did some upgrades to it. So I'm not sure if the live stream started already, but it should have. I have coffee and I'm going to go through the calibration procedure on this thing. But I'm going to first explain my upgrades I've done to it. This is not one that's going to earn a living. It's my backup. Or, well, I have a backup to a backup. So. You found the negative 5 volts. Well, we got to give Cotty her cookies because you comment. We'll give Cotty her cookies. Cotty gets her cookies. Yeah, so I will first go through what I did to this on the upgrades. And what's happening to it. So this is a 1984 Data IO 29B. These are used to program old chips. I just had them. Where did they go? It's gonna do that. I misplaced my props. Oh no. I got more. I got tons more of those. I'll just grab a whole other tray of them. So this is used to program old chips like these TMS 2716s. These are tri-volt chips. They require... she's going to keep trying to headbutt me. Hey, look at this. She wants to spill the tray. But these require 3 voltages. 5 volts, negative 5 volts, and 26 volts to program. So, I don't know what I just did with that tray. Oop, there it is. I found it. I keep... my mind's going. Yeah, she wants to... It's just gonna be that way. So... oh, I'll give her more cookies so she lets me be. Okay, so this unit, I bought it as is, broken. I did an upgrade to the power supply. I put the link in the description. It's all folded over here. I can unplug it and I'll show you. I rebuilt the filter board right there. I did that in another video and everything. So this unit had dead push-pull serial chips. She's just gonna keep doing this. This is what I have to deal with, people. Okay, but there's a 1488, 1489 old push-pull serial. So those were dead, so it would not communicate with the computer. Those are about $8 a pop if you can find real ones. So this board here is a replacement for that. So like that. These are available on the Data.io user group. You can get the Gerber files and make the boards. They use an FTDI chip, and it allows you to communicate stably at 19.2. So, second, yeah, she's annoying tonight. Very, very annoying. If I don't give her just absolute attention, I just gotta give her attention, yes? Okay. Okay, then the second issue with this is a 64K. It says 128K expansion board, but it's only 64K that's on here. You can't just put in the additional memory because it's locked with some PALs, and the code for those is not available. And she just wants to play. She want to play. Okay, we won't play. You go. You go that way. But so somebody created this. This is a 1 meg expansion board. So it's almost completely assembled. I have a little bit more work to do on it. I got to put the headers in. It requires a lot longer headers, but it'll mount right there, just like that, just floating on the headers. I think it should be made a little bit bigger so you can use the standoffs, but maybe I'll do that. I'll rebuild it. I got the Gerbers. I can regenerate the board files. That way you can use the main standoffs to hold it in place. But I'm going to upgrade 2 of mine because I've got one factory 1 meg and 2 of these that are 64K. I want them all 1 meg, so I built 2 of these. Right there, ready to go. Yeah, other than the headers, I gotta order some headers. So I'm gonna have to kick her down when I power this thing up. So, and yeah, she's very attention hungry. Excuse me 1 minute, I forgot something. I'm gonna go get it. Since we're going to be doing the calibration flow on this, I have a cheat sheet right here. It's just the same stuff that's in the maintenance manual here. Okay, kitty down. Yep, kitty got annoying. Kitty, get down. She'll be right back up in a second. So this is just going to show you the calibration checks on the mainframe. I still need to diagnose and repair the Unipack 2B here. The waveform board is missing a voltage also. So, but I have an idea of what took these two chips out. Let me pull the schematic up here. I'm just going to do this guerrilla style. Pull that up. Should have it. Printed on both sides, darn it. I did not want it to print both sides. Makes it a pain in the rear. Okay. So here is the serial IO. You see you got the -5 volts there. I think somebody hooked up the wrong cable and hooked it up to the TX RX and took out those chips right there. So I think that's what happened. And they took out the -5. I don't know. But yeah, that really bites. I didn't want these printed that way. So let me find the schematic. I need, there we go. All right, so I already went through this. I'm going to go through it again for the sake of content. But that's going to be the schematic we're going to use right there. And I'll go through it with you, but let's go through the calibration. We're going to be checking all these voltages right there. They got a nice little graph. I just made me a quick sheet so that I can keep a train of thought. It's all in the maintenance manual, but I'm just going to do a brief, what's in here so you don't have to go through and read it. So you're going to need a pen. You're going to need a multimeter. You're going to need a clip. On one of your multimeters, you're going to need just a little hook. And you're going to need a probe. I checked the calibration on my other ones after I serviced the power supplies. I had to adjust a couple voltages. I'll show you in the maintenance section where those are at. So before you power this up, you want to go from test point 2, which is ground, test point 3 with a jumper. That's what it says in the instruction manual. And then you want to take your ground and you don't want to cover up this 10 volt right there. Believe it or not, it says 10 volts right there. So go like that. And you don't want to cover up right here either. It says plus PROG. I don't know if you see that right. It says plus PROG. That's one of the test points. And you want test point 1 right there too. So kind of a pain, because your test point 1 is your 5 volts. Okay. Move that there. We'll power it up. Oop, might want to plug it in first. It needs AC. Okay. Plugged into AC. Now we'll power it up. And I have this hooked into the USB, because if you don't hook it into the USB, I've noticed that sometimes will error out. But it sure beats hooking into old serial. Okay, give it a minute here. to warm up. I'll usually let it run like 10 minutes. But for content here, we're just... Uh-oh, timeout 46. Yeah. I mean, IO timeout means it didn't get a signal from the computer or the software. So, okay, so we're going to go and start looking at the voltages. So here are the voltages. So the first volt's 5 volt at TP1, and they give you a nice little board diagram, which is, and it was nice in the 80s, but it's just a quick little board diagram. So we want TP1 right there. That is our 5 volts. So I've got my pin. Where did my key go? So TP1 is right there. And we have 5.132. So I just write that down. 5.132. Double check that. The machine's not warm, so 5.1331. Can you see the multimeter over there? I hope so. Okay, so now we want to go to the 24 volt, and those are all pretty much right in this section right here. So 24 volt. See right there, you're gonna have -9, 24, -5, HV, 48, 18. So we're gonna come here, gonna touch 24 volt, and we're 23.996. Acceptable. And I usually start at 48 volts if I'm gonna adjust anything. So we'll go to the 48 volt, which is right here. And 49.57. .578. Okay. So you're saying, oh, well, it should be 48 volt. Well, no. 48.97. And we're at 49.5. So 49.5. That is at the very low end. So I'm going to put my probe back on there. 48.95. I want to bring that up to 97. So it's this trimmer right there. A little high. I want that at 49.7. That's close enough. Okay. So put it at the nominal, 49.7, 49.5, 49.7, 49.8. If it goes over 49.8, sometimes it will error out on the machine. So that's where I like to start before I start checking all the voltages. I'll usually start at the 48, make sure that's correct. So 49.729. It's going to vary. So now we're 49.7. Double check that. Right, 732. I will accept that. Okay, now you're going to want the PGV. That is this plus program right there. and we're at 4.957. And if you check your calibration every now and then and keep a written log of it, you can tell if something's varying, drifting. Okay, so now PGV 49.9, 49 or 4.95, which is right in the nominal. I'm going to say that's good. Now, -9 volts. We want -9 on the money. So -9 is right there. -9043. Okay, now we're going to go to the -5 volt, and we want -5 volts on the dot. But if we hit the -5, we're at 0.7. That's an error. Get that schematic. I put it right there. All right, so we'll pull up the schematic from the -5. So we got -5 right there. We trace it back. It comes up to C11, which is a 2215. Okay, I think I already replaced that capacitor. And then you've got a diode. And then you've got the Q12, which Q12 is on the heat sink. So, and this gets powered. That -5 volts is powered by the 7908. So we should have -9 volts on the input. So that Q12 is right down here. If we touch that pin, we are -9.7 out. So we've either, I don't know if that was a 2215. I don't know if that's a ceramic cap or what, but I'm gonna assume the 7905 is dead in this. I thought I had some. I know I have some floating around here, but I don't. Hello, QS. Good morning. We gotta give Cotty cookies, and she just settled down. All right, we'll give Cotty some cookies. So I can't find my 7905s. They should be in this binder here. So this is how I keep my just random spare parts. So I've got PNP transistors, some NPNs, some crystals, adjustable. We're in the regulators here. 2954s, AMMS 17s, XL 1509s, LM317 adjustables. See, we got a 7912, we got a -12, +12, LM340, KY 5033, 3.3 adjustable. Yeah, SCRs, which those are in the wrong spot. SCR should be back in MOSFETs tri-axis CRs in that neighborhood. This is just one of my binders. I've got binders and inductors, zeners. It's just random transistors. So I'm all out of -5, so I can't do that. So -5 is not present. Okay, then we've got 12 volt, which is all the way on this side. 12 volt. And 12.09, which is the tolerance on that can be 11.4 to 12.6. And here's all the adjustments. So say if your 5 volts was out, you'd go to R42. You just look at the map here, find R42. It'd be down this way. So they give you a pretty good chart. On my blog, when I blog about this, I will take pictures and put arrows to all the resistors that you need to adjust for what voltages. But I have to say, this USB upgrade, it works fine. So we were 12 point what on that voltage? I forgot to write it down. 12.091. Okay, so then we're going to go down. There's miscellaneous volts here. You got your 10 volts, which is right here. And these are always going to be a little bit high because these are the unregulated voltages. So 11.69. Then you've got 18 volts, which is right here, which is going to come up 25.32. Then you got your high volt, which is going to be in the 70s. It's right here at 72.2428, 72.28. And that's pretty much all the voltages on this thing. So if you're ever going to want to calibrate your Unipack 2B, which I will go through the calibration on this when I'm ready to do it. I'm working on my cable here. I'm making a 64 pin extension cable. I'm waiting on my other connector. So I figured, some people solder the connectors on, and why not just buy the actual connector? They're same spacing, and just plug them in. So then you can make it your adapter cable, and then plug it into use the opposite end to plug into there. But this one is missing a voltage somewhere on this board too. So this was missing the voltage before that. So because I had this before this. So I think somebody just hooked up the cable wrong on the back and put the -5 volts somewhere it shouldn't have been from the serial connector and took these chips out, which it lost communications, and it lost its 5 volts, or -5 volts. My meter timed out. What the hell? I forgot to turn. I just turned my beeper off. How do I do that? Oh, we'll just turn the meter off. Hit the wrong button. You hit that setup button and hit another button and you mess it all up. That's what I don't like about that meter. Yes, cat cam. Thank you, JS. Kitty kitty, get cookies? I hope that helps somebody out with calibrating the mainframe. I will post this little cheat sheet on my blog. So it takes a while to do those blogs, so where's my 4.3? Stick it over here. Yeah, I hate that when I print double-sided. That was just a quick dirty rundown on doing this. So I'll order some 7905s and get, yeah, you have to tear this whole thing apart again. It's been apart so many times. But yeah, so negative 5 volts is missing. Oh, I'm not a loser. And I was asked I'd change my thing to Clippy. So I didn't follow. Asked. And I have independent thoughts. My thoughts would scare you. Achi. You should run away fast. So yeah, memory board, that's going to be a interesting one, but this is not an earner. This unit's not an earning machine, so I can experiment and play with it. Until it proves itself reliable, it ain't going to earn. So, by reliable, who will earn their living. And the data IO experts, if I messed up and forgot something, yell at me. I don't care. Correct me. But yeah, like I said, I like to start with the 48 volt and continue on down the line. So that 48 volts is stable. It usually is pretty stable, so. I don't think she understands the clippy movement. Audie likes clippy, doesn't she? I figured this was just a good stream to show y'all what's inside one of these. You guys have seen it before, but I got a lot of new viewers. So I could pull that out. I did get this from the Tektronix. Get this. Got this from the Tektronix junk store. Let's open this up. I already repaired it. So this is a tech meter. Ain't got the batteries in it. Should I put batteries in it? We could try it. Check this out. This is not the resolution enough to even work on this, so. Yeah, they think that just don't buy it. Well, yeah, it's like that saying, you know, I didn't speak up because somebody was in trouble. You know, they were going after that specific group of people. Nobody spoke up, so when they come after you, nobody's going to speak up for you. So. Let's throw some batteries. Yeah, I'm still, believe it or not, both Mauser and DigiKey were out of the value of capacitor for this, so I just still have one bodged in capacitor in this, so I got, it's fine, it'll survive until I get that capacitor just on my back order list. Let's throw some batteries in this. Definitely not the smartest design, but this is 1995. This is 30 years old. And the capacitors on that leaked really bad, but it didn't destroy the board, which was, it just took out some components on the board. Okay, so we've got batteries. Very, very poor design. So this had a buck boost converter blown and a transistor for the backlight blown. So we will boot this thing up. And we'll turn the backlight on. You barely see the backlight. Computer, shop light off. And barely see the backlight. Computer, shop light on. Yeah. Backlight works, it's just real. You can see it going on and off. But you can turn, it's got a small oscilloscope on it. And it's got a DMM. Oop. Back to that. So let's throw some I think this might have enough resolution. Let's prop this up. Can you? Oh, just prop it up on the Fluke. They're owned by the same company now. Tektronix owns Fluke, so I think Tektronix owns Fluke. Can you see that meter? I'll boot this thing up and try and go through the calibration with that meter. Put it to use, right? Use it. Okay, can you see that meter? Let me look at the screen. Yeah, you can see it. So yeah, I got that for steal of a deal. We'll just go through like right here. We'll hit the 25 point. Oh my, this will be slightly off because it's not warm. Yeah, IO timeout. So 5 volt, 5.132, 5.15, 5.14. It's not got the resolution to do this. You really need a higher resolution meter. So 25.3, we were 25.32. So yeah. We were 48 volts, 49.578, 49.7. That's the high volt, 72.28, 72.4. -9, it was on the dot. So yeah, that meter works. I hooked it up to my calibrated power supply. It puts out a very stable 10 volts. And it was rock solid, so. But yeah, it came with all the probes, and some of these look like they haven't been used. So for what I paid, it was a good deal. I'm probably 3 times more than I paid into it in parts. And if I leave it on, it'll chew through battery. But it'll come in handy if I can get a hold of somebody with a Mitsubishi Pajero. I can use the scope feature on it and figure out what the pulse train is for without having to take my older Siglant. So, a lot less valuable. So I will get that 7905 replaced. I think that's what it is, unless it's a capacitor that's shorted, but I don't think it is. I'll have to lift the memory board out to get to it. So we'll end the stream here. Thanks for watching. Have a good day or good evening, wherever you're at in the world. See ya.